Hi, everyone. I'm Alex.
And I'm Kirsten.
Welcome to another dreadful discussion. What are we talking about tonight?
We're going to talk about an alien abduction story.
That sounds awesome. I've never heard the story before. Kirsten's about to tell it. She's done all the research, and I don't know anything about it.
So we are going to be talking about the Travis Walton abduction. So everybody knows the stories of alien abductions in movies and how they tend to be very theatrical. But what if those were more accurate than we think?
I 100% believe in aliens already. I'm sure they abduct people. I'm sure they do experiments. I have no problem believing in aliens. There are billions of stars with billions of planets in billions of galaxies. There's no way there's not other life.
I would agree with that.
In my opinion.
I think it would be naive to think that we're the only people. Not that they're people, but...
The only beings.
Yeah, the only intelligent beings.
Yeah.
I think it would be naive.
Yeah.
So you ready?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm ready.
So, the story starts on a Wednesday, November 5th in 1975.
Another 70s.
I know, everything's going to be the 70s for a while.
All right.
That's where the best stories happen. So Travis is only 22 years old, and he's working in the Apache Supremes National Forest in Springerville, Arizona. He's employed by his best friend, who's Mike Rogers, and Mike has been working like a contract on and off with the United States Forest Service for over 9 years.
Okay.
So it explains why they're there. So Travis, along with Mike, work with 5 other men: Ken Pageant, John Goulet, Steve Pierce, Alan Dallas, and Dwayne Smith. So they're all in the story.
Okay.
So their assignment was to cut down some of the trees in the national forest. And the reason that they were doing that is to reduce the risk of wildfires in that area because it was very prone to them. So the group's actually really close outside of work. So they're in Springerville doing the contract work for them, but they actually live in Snowflake, Arizona. So Snowflake isn't far from Springerville. So at about 6 o'clock at night, the group decides to call it a day and they're going to head home. So the group get into Mike Rogers' double cab 65 International pickup truck and head home. And I had to Google what one of those looked like because I had no idea. Yeah. I had no idea. So as the group's heading home, they spot this unusual light behind the hill on the right side of their truck. So at first they thought it might, it's the sun going down. But then they realized the sun had set about a half an hour ago. So it's definitely not the sun. And then they thought it might be headlights or just some hunters in the area. But the light became more confusing and suspicious because it looked like the light was coming from a higher point than the crest of the ridge. So it's it wouldn't make sense to be a person.
It couldn't be someone on the ridge. It has to be in the sky.
Exactly. So out of curiosity, the group drive towards the light, and they are in a hurry because they wanted to know what it was at this point. Now that you have a group of men in, their 20s and 30s that are extremely curious to what this light is.
Right.
So they want to know why it was hovering over there. And then they went through this evergreen thicket and they were just going wherever they thought the light was.
They're just following the light.
Yeah, exactly.
They're trying to.
Yeah, they're trying to. So as they get closer, they get an unobstructed view. The group was in shock at what they saw. They saw this bright light that was a flying saucer. And it was a large disc-like machine hovering just a few feet over top of the nearby trees. Mm-hmm. So it's not on the ground. So now that the group is close enough to actually see what the light was, and the way they describe it is it was a beautiful glassy disc that had metallic features, but it was also glowing. When they were looking at it, they couldn't see any antennas, hatches, or a door to get in the craft.
It just looked smooth.
Yeah. It did have visible windows on the outside. So kind of porthole windows is what I'm picturing.
Right.
So according to them, the dimensions, it's 8 feet high and 20 feet in diameter. So once Mike stopped the truck, Travis just immediately jumped out of the passenger side and starts running or walking towards the craft. He said that he was afraid that he would miss the opportunity to see what it really was. Everyone else in the truck is freaking out and yelling at Travis to get back in the truck.
Right. You don't know what it is. Don't mess with it.
Yeah. But Travis just completely ignored all his friends. And Travis wanted to get as close to the disc as possible. The group said that it was hovering, but it wasn't making any sound. Mm-hmm. So it was completely quiet.
That seems consistent with a lot of people's stories.
Yeah. So Travis got like right up on the craft, like he's directly under it. And so like he could look up and like he wanted to look up to see if he could see inside. Mm-hmm. And as Travis is standing under the craft, they start to hear the sound that like kind of resembles like a jet turbine is the way they described it. And like Travis is still under the craft, and he said the sound was so strange that it was a mix, that it was like mixed, and it was impossible to compare to any sound that he'd ever actually heard.
A mix?
Yeah, like it wasn't a jet engine, it wasn't a car, like it was a mix of sounds, is what he's saying.
A mix of sounds that wasn't like anything they've ever heard.
Yeah, like the group of guys, they're just saying that like, oh, it sounds like a jet turbine, but he's right under it.
Yeah, gotcha.
So like he hears it differently. And so like the disc starts to wobble from side to side, and out of fear, Travis starts to try to get away from it. Just as he starts to make his way back to the truck, he's struck with a powerful beam of blue light that comes out of the bottom of the craft. Yeah, so like I don't know, my brain, pictures the movie images where like they're picking up a cow or something.
Yeah.
Like it's
like
that kind
a cone
of
light.
Yeah. The sound of the light was described as a sharp crackling sound, almost like a lightning strike. Travis said during this he saw and heard nothing, and that all he could feel was like a numbing force, and it felt like high voltage electrocution. The group describes seeing Travis being hit by the light as something that they've never seen before. But anyways, and as Travis is being hit by the beam, his body is like thrown up into the air and then thrown 10 feet backwards. His body rolls when it hits the ground, and then when it came to a stop, like his body was just like motionless. So Travis recalls like later saying that like my mind just sank quickly into an unfeeling blackness. I didn't even see what hit me, but from the instant I felt that paralyzing blow, I did not see, hear, or feel anything anymore.
That would be disorienting.
Yeah.
If you have no feeling at all.
Yeah.
No senses.
Yeah. So, like the group actually thinks that Travis is dead, and they speed off in the truck, thinking at one point that like the craft is chasing them because it's still moving. So, like once they realize like it's not chasing them, that like they agree that like we need to go back and get Travis,
right?
Like at least try to get his body. So, like when they arrive, like the craft is gone, and they can't find Travis anywhere. Like his body's gone, he's not there, no one's there. So, like they spend a decent amount of time looking for him, but they can't find him.
Oh, it's dark.
Yeah.
They're disoriented probably. I mean, they're sure they're in the right place?
They say they are. So the group's like still freaking out because not only have they seen this craft, they watched their friend get possibly killed, and now they can't find him.
Right, and you've got to report to the authorities or
yeah,
you're maybe in trouble, because if 5 guys go and say, hey, our buddy's missing,
yeah,
we saw him get a shot with something from an alien spacecraft.
You're either going to end up in the psych ward or jail.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, does it?
Yeah. So the group goes to town, and now it's like 7:30, and the police are called by like Ken Paget. So he's one of the guys that's in the truck. So when Ken calls the police, he calls the police in Heber, Arizona, because that's the closest place to where like they were at the time. The map that I saw, at least of the time in the 75, was like Springerville, Heber, Snowflake, but they're kind of all like, they almost look like they're touching each other. So he probably had to drive through one to get to the other. So Ken told them like about what the group had seen and that Travis was missing. And so once the group arrived at the police station, they met with Deputy Sheriff Chuck Ellison, who then met with them to hear about like what the group was saying and what happened that night. And at this point, the whole group is distraught. Like, and some of them are like crying as they tell the story. And obviously Deputy Ellison is skeptical at first after being told a UFO killed our friend and now we can't find his body.
Right.
He's not really believing the group, but after like meeting up with the group, like he met with the group, like all of them. And like Ellison immediately notifies his supervisor, who is Sheriff Marlon Gillespie.
Probably Gillespie. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to the sheriff if that your name is wrong. Sorry. But anyway, so like he tells Ellison to like, because he calls, like, they're on the phone. So he tells Ellison to keep them there.
All right, hang on. Ellison's the sheriff.
He's just he's a deputy sheriff.
Okay.
He's just
Ellison's at the
guys
sheriff's
there.
office.
Yes.
Gillespie is the sheriff.
Yes. And we're getting ready to have another guy come in too.
Okay.
So Gillespie, and then he brings Officer Copeland, with him when they come in. In later interviews, Ellison, admitted that he was skeptical, but he also thought that if this group was acting, they were all very good actors.
Right. Which is probably not typical for a bunch of construction workers.
Yeah. Loggers.
Loggers, yeah.
Yeah. They're all crying and they're pretty good actors if they're acting. The sheriff gets there and he's unsure about the whole UFO after hearing the story, but Travis is missing. Mm-hmm. So he knows that he needs to find Travis. So when the group was being interviewed, Mike insists on going back to that spot right then and having tracking dogs to come pick up Travis's scent.
Right.
Since he was just there.
Right.
But the police didn't have any dogs available that night. Do they get a shift?
That night?
Yeah, that's what everything said. There were no dogs available that night.
That seems unusual. I feel like maybe a dog has a shift with an officer,
Yeah.
But, hey, guys, something crazy happened. We have a missing person. It's probably not a normal scenario.
Yeah.
You need to wake up and come in.
That I was also thinking that I wonder if they have to call for them, or they're because these seem kind of small towns. So is it one town, 4 towns are sharing one dog and it's busy at the moment?
I don't know, but I mean, what are the chances it's busy right then?
I don't know.
Anyway, who knows?
Yeah.
So no dog.
Yeah, they don't have a dog, but they do go back up and search the grounds for Travis.
Now, I wonder who wanted the dog to go?
Mike.
Now, I wonder if Mike's concern was, we need the dog now to help find my friend, or we need the dog now to prove to you he was here, trying to help himself.
I don't know. Mike seems to be a good friend.
I was going to say, I get a friend vibe. So.
Yeah. So, once the police arrive at the place where the group claims everything happened, mm-hmm. they become even more skeptical because there's no physical evidence that anything occurred at this spot. The police were looking for a body print from where Travis was thrown, because you have to remember they told him oh, he got thrown 10 feet backwards. You're gonna have some impact, even the grass will be muffled or something.
I don't know about that.
Despite there being no physical signs of evidence, the police brought in more officers and volunteers to search the area for Travis. Then after a few hours of searching, they still found no signs of him. And Travis only had on jeans and a denim jacket when this happened. And then everybody was worried about him getting hypothermia. Mm-hmm. Because it's November, first of all. And even in Arizona, it's hot during the day, but it's really cold at night.
Right.
So he easily could have gotten hypothermia. So after hours of searching, Officer Copeland and then Mike decide to go, they leave the scene to tell Travis's mom about the incident because nobody's told her yet. Mm-hmm. I know he's an adult, but hey, your kid is missing.
How old is he?
He's 22.
He's 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when they arrive at Mary's ranch in Bear Creek, which is also in Arizona.
Wait, is Mary his mom, or is Mary the name of the ranch?
Sorry, Mary is his mom. We're going to need that in a minute. Okay. But Mary's his mom, and she runs a ranch in Bear Creek, Arizona. Okay. The ranch is about 10 miles from Snowflake. And then Mike told her what happened to Travis. When Mary heard what happened, she obviously was shocked by the story. And then she had to have Mike tell it to her a few times in order for her to understand everything that happened, mm-hmm. and kind of put the pieces together. But then she very calmly asked Mike if anyone other than the police and the eyewitnesses have heard the story. I just feel like that's weird.
It is. Has anyone else heard the story?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. But the sheriff thought it was weird too. And it added to kind of the police's theory that something other than a UFO is the reason Travis was missing.
Wait, so we don't find out later anything from his mom?
Not necessarily.
It sounds like she suspected it, or knew maybe UFOs had a thing for Travis, although they followed it, so it's not like it tracked him down.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think it was more, in my opinion, the way I thought it was at least it was her being no, oh God, y'all are crazy. Don't tell anybody this story. Everybody in town's going to think y'all are nuts.
Okay.
That's kind of how I took it.
She wanted to know who they've told because they're Travis's friends and she's concerned for them?
Probably, yeah. And obviously she's still concerned about Travis. So her odd response kind of added to the police's theory that there was some other reason than a UFO that Travis was missing. Like, there's a couple things that just weren't adding up to police, at least that they said weren't adding up. Like, why did you leave him there instead of try to get him in the truck? And a couple other things, like, they're leaning towards other things other than UFO.
Right, so, I mean, they told them Travis was coming back and he was thrown.
Yeah.
That's when, like he was hit with something and thrown.
Yeah.
It makes sense that whatever it is, if you believe it's an alien or whatever it is, it's technology beyond whatever you have. You're not going to hang around and try and fight these things, whatever they are. Like, I get it, Travis is their friend, but as far as they're concerned, they're obviously outmatched. Best thing to do is run.
Yeah.
Like, all right, Travis has already been hit by the thing. Nothing we can do for him without getting hit ourselves or without being hurt, captured, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So they run, and then they turn around and try and find him later. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So around 3 a.m., Mary called her second oldest child, Dwayne Walton, and told him about Travis's disappearance.
So this is Travis's little brother or older brother?
It said her second oldest child, and I don't have an age for him.
And you don't know if Travis is the oldest or if this is the oldest.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm going to go with Travis is not the oldest because
he's 22.
He's 22, and this guy doesn't live near them. He lives somewhere else.
Right.
So after the conversation, Dwayne left his house in Glendale, Arizona, and headed to Snowflake.
Mm-hmm.
By the next morning, November 6th, officers and volunteers had finished searching for Travis where he was last seen, but nothing was found, and the police start to question even more that this might not have been an abduction, but a murder.
Mm-hmm.
So when Dwayne arrives, no one was searching for Travis, and he goes to the sheriff's office and wants to know why no one's looking for Travis. And after Dwayne demands that they continue searching, the sheriff's office goes back out, and this time they start a search with helicopters, horse-mounted officers, and ATVs, like, looking for him.
Mm-hmm.
So by Saturday, Travis's disappearance had made international news, and more reporters and, like, UFOologists are starting to, like, show up and interview people and find out what happened. So Mike and Dwayne are interviewed by one UFOologist and express that they don't think that the police are taking the case seriously. So this interview was recorded, and they both make some statements that come back to kind of bite them once more people hear about it and more people start to doubt them.
Mike and
Dwayne.
There
are two Dwaynes. Brother Dwayne
okay.
and Dwayne from the crew.
Wait, so it's Mike and brother Dwayne?
Yes, Mike and brother Dwayne, not Mike and crew Dwayne.
So are Mike and brother Dwayne friends?
Or
are they just...
I think they both just happen to be involved in this because
okay, this is bringing them together.
Yeah. So on the recording, Mike says that that because of Travis's disappearance and the search, he would not be able to complete the contract with the Forest Service, and he hoped that the search would mitigate the situation.
Okay.
Yeah. And yes.
Is he just, like, scared to death, like he's not going back?
No, I think he's saying that, like, and they were out there searching for Travis, that I can't finish the contract I have with the Forest Service because
I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't get it done on time. I've got to find my friend.
Yeah, and he was hoping that, like, it would mitigate it and everything would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dwayne says that Travis has always been interested in UFOs and that 12 years earlier, he had witnessed a UFO like the one the group saw. Also, that if he or Travis ever saw a UFO, that they would try to get as close to it as possible.
Oh, so the brothers have already talked about this.
According to Dwayne. According to Travis later,
mm-hmm.
No, he never really cared about UFOs. Like, and he doesn't know why his brother said it. It was more just a maybe if he says it, like, they aren't really sure if they just got swept up in stuff or what. Also, if you're thinking about it, he says 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know how old Dwayne is, but
12
Travis,
years ago would have made him 10 years old.
That's what I'm saying. Travis would have been like 10.
So it's possible that Dwayne is right and that happened.
Yeah.
Or maybe that happened and Travis suppressed it later.
Yeah.
Or maybe it happened, because he did get out of the truck and go see it.
Yeah.
But maybe...
I'd got out of the truck.
Maybe whatever happened to him, I'm assuming he was abducted. We're talking about aliens.
And we talk about him later, so yeah.
I know we're not there yet in the story, but if he was abducted, maybe something happened that made him forget that or something.
Maybe.
Anyway.
So Dwayne goes on to say that Travis would not be harmed by the aliens because they don't harm humans. So Dwayne and Mike's statement really started to sow people's doubt in people's mind and provide people with another explanation for Travis's disappearance. Mostly just that, it's a hoax and they just want fame or whatever.
Well, Dwayne sounds like an idiot.
I don't know if he's an idiot, but maybe not.
No. Hey, all right. At least the way you're presenting it to me, Dwayne's talking like he knows about the aliens and knows what they do and how they think and all that.
Yeah. Well, just keep going. Hang on. Okay. So like I said, these statements later refuted by Travis, and he said that he never had an interest in UFOs and he didn't really know what Dwayne was talking about. So the police not only interviewed the group who saw the incident, but they also were aggressively interviewing Mary, which is Travis's mom. Mm-hmm. So the police are starting to believe that it's a hoax and that they start pressing Mary for more information because they believe that she knows where Travis is.
Because of the statement she made earlier?
Because of the statements Dwayne's making.
Why would they think Mary knows because of Dwayne?
Because Travis lived at home, so I think they're probably assuming that, she knows what's happening with her kid, which, So once Dwayne comes home and finds his mother in tears, he kicks the police out and tells them not to come back unless they have something new. Mm-hmm. So now it's Monday, November 10th.
That's a good thing. Good for Dwayne on that.
I know. I was pretty proud of Dwayne for that. So Monday, November 10th comes, and now the group are brought in for polygraph tests. So this is where I go on my little spiel and say that polygraph tests are not admissible in court, but police still like to use them even now to prove, if a suspect needs to be be questioned more, or that, you're lying or whatever.
Right. Now, it's not admissible in court, but they do have some degree of accuracy, right?
No.
Sometimes. No, none at all?
Well, the problem with polygraph tests is they mostly just pick up if you're nervous. Of course, most people are going to be nervous if you're getting interviewed by the cops.
Right.
So, that's why they're not admissible, because you can't prove that I'm lying versus I'm nervous.
Right, yeah. So it picks up a baseline.
Yes.
I was just going to say, what are the chances that, if they polygraphed all 5 of them? Or
There's 5 in the
5
trial.
left.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's 6, including Mike.
Including Travis.
Well, no, because you have Mike and Travis and 5 other guys on the crew. So that's 7. Travis is missing. Okay. Now you have 6.
Okay, so they polygraph all 6 guys that were left over that weren't taken or aren't missing. What are the chances they all 6 come back truthful or lying?
Well, hang on, we'll get there.
I was like, if they all 6 of them come back truthful, there's no way 6 random people. I mean, they're not random, but
yeah,
there's no way that 6 people that can pass a polygraph test found each other and made this story up and did all these things.
Yeah.
If they can all 6 pass the polygraph, that seems like it would be good evidence that they're telling the truth, at least as they believe it.
Yeah, and you have to think about in the 70s, polygraph tests were the thing. They proved if you were telling the truth or not.
Was it admissible then?
I don't know. I don't think they've ever been fully admissible in court. I know now, you can't even mention a polygraph test in court, or you will get, or your cases gets dismissed and you have to refile charges and all.
Right. You can't because it's so inaccurate.
Yes.
You can't put that in a jury's mind, right?
Exactly. Now, I will say this. This is my little spiel. If you are innocent, don't take a polygraph test. Don't get a lawyer. If you're guilty, I don't care if you take a polygraph test or not.
We are not lawyers. This is not legal advice.
It's not legal advice, but it is solid advice. Yeah. Don't take the polygraph test.
In our opinion, don't take a polygraph test.
Fine. In our opinion, don't take the polygraph test. So each
person.
You
could ask me what my name is, and I would tell you my name, and they would tell you I'm lying.
Probably.
I'd be so nervous.
Well, and that's my thing. They're not admissible. And no, my answer is just no, get a lawyer.
Okay.
So, anyways, each person was given the polygraph test separately, and some of the questions were asking if, any of the men had hurt Travis themselves or know who did. Everyone denied harming Travis, knowing who did, or knowing where his body was. So the group results were everyone but one, Alan Dallas, was conclusive, except for Alan's, where his was inconclusive. Okay. So they couldn't tell if he was telling the truth or not. But Now, this is just the reports of Alan Dallas. He was not a very happy person, and he was always willing to pick a fight with anybody. And he was the typical type of person that if they're taking a polygraph test, they're more on edge. They're more an edgy person. Like,
I wonder if just his natural personality is kind of a jerk. And
Yeah.
so he's like, oh man, people are suspicious of me.
Yeah, and that was my thing. So for me, I'm like, it doesn't mean squat that he didn't pass.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, polygraph in general, like we were talking about, doesn't mean anything really.
Exactly. So now, like I said, yeah, that could be because he knew more than what he was saying, or just because that he was nervous. There's really no way to tell you why you failed. Okay, so that's where we are.
Mm-hmm.
They've all pretty much passed their polygraph. We still don't know where Travis is, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to get to hear where Travis was. While everyone's out looking for Travis starts to like regain consciousness. But when he starts to, he becomes overwhelmed with pain, and then he starts to like to move slightly, but he's going in and out of consciousness, and he's feeling burned all over.
He's knocked out when he's hit with the beam or whatever it is, and then when he regains consciousness, he feels pain and burned.
Yes.
Pain as if he was burned all over his body.
Yes. And so like finally his vision returns and he can see like what's going on around him. And that's when Travis realizes he's laying on his back on a hard table. Then he notices that there is like a bright light above his head, and then past the light, like the ceiling is like the ceiling, and then he notices like the ceiling tile, like the ceiling is crooked, and like one end is larger and the other end is smaller, and then but he isn't able to realize where he is at first.
Like a vaulted ceiling, or like the room's not square?
The room's not square. He's thinking that like he might be in a hospital or something like that. And then he says like it's very hot and humid and it smelled slightly stale. So he starts to feel like he's sweating, and he notices that he's still wearing his jacket and pants. But then he also notices that there was a strange thing attached to his body. It was about 5 inches thick, and that it was coming from his armpits and extended to a few inches above his belt, and it was curved and looked like it was made of like a shiny metal.
Mm-hmm.
As he's looking around, he starts to make out 3 blurry figures with white masks and caps. Like one of them starts to lean over him, and it's looking, and like they're looking directly in each other's eyes, but like the eyes are like really large and brown. And then according to Travis, the irises of the eyes are like twice the size of like a human eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he says they looked creepy. So they were all silent. Travis said that like they made no sound the whole time, and like they had a bulging, oversized craniums, and then small, undersized jawlines.
Typical alien description.
Kind of, yeah. And then they had 2 legs, 2 arms, and that their hands had 5 fingers along each, and they had like a typical human feature, so like eyes, nose, and mouth. Each one was like a little under 5 feet tall, and then they had this like chalky white skin, and they were wearing like one-piece coverall type clothes that were orangish brown, and the clothes didn't have buttons, zippers, or snaps. So like their feet and hands were like on the small side, and they were hairless, and then their fingers were supposedly like round and wrinkly, but they were also bald, and then they had like little small noses.
Mm-hmm.
So
that seems like what aliens are usually depicted.
That's kind of what I thought. Like they seem very typical, like an alien description.
Yeah.
So, but they're hairless. They have no hair, eyelashes, eyebrows, any of that. Like, so Travis starts to believe at the time like he needed to defend himself because he didn't know what they were doing. They were going to do to him, what they are doing to him. And so like the other 2 start to walk towards Travis, because you already have the one that's like kind of leaning over him. Mm-hmm. And then you have the other 2 that are walking towards him. So he grabs something off a nearby bench. It doesn't say what it was. And like he starts screaming at them and like threatening that he's going to hit them.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden they turn away and they run out the room. So like they never made a sound the entire time, even while they were running away. I was wondering if they didn't like converse like telepathically or something.
Then maybe they do communicate telepathically.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought. I think it's telepathically, but that was just me making a guess.
And a lot of people have speculated that too.
Yeah.
Or if it's not telepathy, maybe it's some kind of technology they do have.
So after the creatures leave, Travis starts trying to find a way out of where he is, and he goes down a hallway that leads to a spherical room which had one large chair in the middle of the room. when Travis enters the room, the chair is facing away from him. So like he couldn't see who or what was in the chair. And as he starts walking to the chair, like the lights in the room start coming on.
The chair swivels slowly around and it's Dwayne.
No, it's not. But that would have been good. Anyways.
Maybe it'll be Dwayne in the movie.
And so like, that'd be funny. And like as he reaches the chair, he sits down in it. What?
You just woke up on an alien vessel with aliens and you found a chair and just take a seat.
Yeah, like
okay. you threaten them, they run, you run, and you need a break?
I don't know. But anyways, he quickly notices that like the room is filled with like lights and they're projecting stars on the ceiling, kind of like a planetarium.
Mm-hmm.
So he notices that the chair has an oddly molded handle on each arm. And when he pushes the handle, he notices that the stars start to rotate around him slowly. And when he releases the handle, the lights stay in their new place.
So like a navigation room, maybe?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, is this like how they navigate? So then Travis suddenly hears like a sound from behind him. And when he looks, like he sees the large-eyed creatures again. But to his surprise, he also sees a person, like an actual person.
A human being.
Yes, wearing blue coveralls and a glassy helmet. Yeah, Travis tried to like ask the man several questions, but like the man only grinned and motioned for Travis to follow him.
Might not have been a person. It could be, like if they have silent communication, they might have cloaking or camouflage.
Yeah.
Could have been one of them in disguise.
I guess it could have been. I never
Might
thought.
not even have been real. Could
I
have
didn't
been
think
like a
about
hologram
that.
kind of thing.
Huh. So anyways, so Travis got up and followed the man down the hallway and then out a door which led to an aircraft hangar. And then in the hangar, Travis saw other crafts like the one he had encountered in the beginning. And then the man led Travis to another room where 3 people were and like they motioned for him to have a seat at the table. So, yes.
So now there's more humans.
Yes. Now the aliens are gone and there's just people.
Mm-hmm.
So once Travis sat down, a woman walked towards him and placed what looked like an oxygen mask on him. And then before Travis could do anything, he lost consciousness completely.
Mm-hmm.
So then Travis woke back up on the pavement of a gas station in Heber, Arizona.
All right, so if everything he saw is actually what he saw, it sounds like he might have been there. Like, it seems like they may have already taken people.
Yeah.
Only these people seem happy to be there.
That's different than what I was thinking.
Well, I mean, the people are the ones that put the mask on him, right?
Yes.
So they're at least doing what the aliens want?
Well, my opinion?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think that the aliens have a thing with the government out there, and that's why they were in an aircraft hangar, because they dropped him back off, and then the government just gave him some gas, knocked his ass out, and dropped him off at a gas station.
Wait, hang on. When did he get off the ship?
He followed the guy off the ship. Like, he followed the guy out and then out this door, and then they were on an aircraft hangar.
Oh, it sounded like he followed him to an aircraft hangar in the ship. I thought he was like, he's on the mothership.
Oh, not.
And they found the hangar on the mothership.
Yeah. No. He just said he followed him out the door onto the aircraft hangar. So I was like, okay.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. My guess is like they had already landed in the aircraft hangar when they were like, when Travis woke up and the whole thing happened. So I assumed that they were already landed. Mm-hmm. That's why he could play with the controls.
Yeah, I got you now.
Yeah. As he's waking up, he sees a glimpse of the disc-shaped craft hovering over the road, but it quickly shot up into the sky with no sound at all. So Travis quickly got up and was able to get to a nearby phone and call his brother-in-law, Grant. And it's now 12:05 in the morning. And then Grant answered, and Travis told him he was at the Exxon station in Heber and like he needed a ride. And so Grant thought that this was this was weird or like a prank call, but Travis was able to convince him that no, this is like, it really is me. Please come get me. So Grant goes and he gets brother Dwayne, and tells him about the call. Dwayne's like also super suspicious about like, could this really be Travis? But they drove to Heber, which was about 33 miles away from where they were at the time. And then when they arrived, they saw Travis and they immediately got out. And like Dwayne started asking Travis like a ton of questions, like, where have you been? Like, what happened? And it's been 5 days. And then Travis thought he'd only been gone a few hours. Like, according to him, he's like, I swear this thing only took a couple hours, but it had been 5 days. So by Tuesday afternoon, Travis's return made the news, and then Sheriff Gillespie speculated that Travis had been hit on the head and drugged, and that he was just taken to a normal hospital, but Travis just confused a routine exam for aliens.
Okay, they wouldn't have let him go if he really thought that, right?
You wouldn't think so.
I mean, if you're in a hospital, but I have a theory on that.
Okay.
So maybe he was unconscious for 5 days.
Yeah.
And then finally woke up. But it's also possible, so it's believed, and I think it's actually proven, that when you're in space, time passes more slowly for you than it does here on Earth.
Yeah.
So I wonder, I mean, it's possible that they were gone.
Yeah.
And for him, he was gone a few hours, but back here, 5 days went by.
Yeah. I could see that. So like Travis denied this in stating that like his recent medical evaluation found no head trauma or drugs in his system. Mm-hmm. But like the police were not believing Travis, and they wanted him to take a polygraph test, which he did, and he passed. Mm-hmm. In fact, he actually passed several in reference to this incident. In addition to the polygraph test, Travis agreed to go with Dwayne to Scottsdale, Arizona, to have a meeting with APRO, who was like going to hypnotize Travis in order to get more information.
What's APRO?
The guy, like this, it's like a agency that does hypnotizations? Not hypnotization. Hypnotization, yes.
Okay.
Anyways, Travis can only recall about 2 hours out of the 5 days that he had been missing. And then Travis said that this actually allowed him to verbalize the events without like the anxiety and the fear taking over of like what had happened to him. Then like he goes into like, this is how he got the description of like the aliens and like the most of like what had happened to him during that experience. And then in the end, Travis like still passing the polygraphs and him being open. Many people, like, even though he's still been open, like, many people still don't believe him. And, like, he had some physical evidence. Like, he actually does have physical evidence, is what I was trying to say. Like, there is actually a case file on him in the FBI that the FBI has.
Okay.
Yeah. Because of, like, I don't know if it's just because he was a missing person or, like, what. But, like, he got a copy of his own FBI file, I guess.
Interesting. I wonder what does it say in there? Or do you know?
It does not say. So, like, he also had, like, the doctors do more tests on him to prove, like, his medical conditions and, like, all that. And then more interestingly, like, the trees where this actually took place have accelerated growth in comparison to the surrounding trees. Like, one reason people don't believe Travis is the fact that, like, he ended up writing a book about his experience in 1978 called The Walton Experience. And then Travis wrote another book, which was adapted into a movie called Fire in the Sky. And, like, that story, like, turned into a movie, like, obviously, but, like, the problem with that was, like, that led more people to be skeptical of him because, like, now you're making money off this. Right. But the director for Fire in the Sky told Travis that, like, your story's boring, dude, and, like, the audience is not going to pay attention to this. Right. So, like, the director, like, blew things out of proportion, made the aliens the bad guys, like, all of these terrible things. And,
well, I mean, they did kidnap him.
But here's the thing. Actually, So Travis actually thinks that he was only kidnapped because they accidentally hurt him.
He thinks they were trying to make sure I was okay.
Yeah, like honestly, if you think about it, if he actually had been hit by like that much electricity or whatever it is they're using, he probably was dead.
Right. They might have saved his life.
Exactly. And actually, there was the thing, like, he was doing, like, he does not festivals, but, like, you know, stuff now.
So did he believe that when they made the movie?
Yeah, he was not happy with the way the movie, you know.
I mean, did he give permission to make the movie?
I guess so, because he did make money off of it. But I think it's one of those, we're going to take your story, but we're going to change it to what we want it.
Yeah, I feel like if it happened to me and I actually thought they were just trying to help me because maybe they accidentally hurt me or they didn't want to hurt me. Although, I mean, you know, he went up to their craft or whatever. Yeah. They may have thought they were protecting themselves, or it might have been an accident.
Yeah, I think it was just an accident.
Maybe they were getting ready to go or something and it blasted him away. But I think I would feel bad. Like, if they have the technology and they know that this movie was made. Yeah. I'd kind of want them to know. And maybe it's just me, but I'd feel bad and I'd be like, aliens, I want you to know, I don't actually think you're the bad guys. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not that they're for sure not bad guys. You don't know. Yeah. Yeah, but like I said, Travis said, like, he was scared while this was happening, obviously. But he's like, I really don't think they were trying to hurt me. I think they were trying to help me. And that the movie doesn't really show what actually happened to Travis.
But like he was talking at one of the festival things he was about how he hasn't been sick a day since then, since that happened. So I was wondering, like, whatever treatment they gave him, has that kept him from getting anything else?
If it has, I want to get abducted. I don't want to get sick either.
Let's not go missing for 5 days. I might panic.
Yeah, I would too, but still.
So that is the story of Travis Walton and why a lot of people don't believe him. Mostly because he made money off the story.
Right.
So what are your thoughts?
I mean, there'd have to be 7 guys in on it if it's not true, right?
Yeah.
So that would be 7 of them that had to decide to make up this story. If they actually were like in tears and like the police believed that they believed what they were telling him, or that they were actually that upset about it, I believe it.
Yeah.
The sheriff or the police seemed to believe that they were telling the truth about what they believed, at least, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they thought that if they're lying, they're really good actors.
Yeah.
I don't imagine those 6 guys are that good of actors.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Especially
say so.
the ones, like, if they were crying and trying to tell the story.
Yeah.
He really was missing for 5 days.
Yeah.
If he staged it, like, because they really believed it and he staged it, although Brother Dwayne seemed to be into it, right, with the interviews.
Yeah.
So, and Mike?
Yeah, Mike's the best friend.
So Dwayne, his brother, and Mike, his best friend, are happy to do these interviews, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. They could have. It's possible that they helped him stage it for maybe a good story or fame or money or whatever. And, the mom asked who all they told.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she was in on it.
I don't know.
Maybe the ranch was in trouble. But
I don't know. I do know that, like, a lot of the research, I was reading comments of, like, other people, like, be like, oh, I've met him. Oh, this, oh, that. Like, everybody's like, he's, like, the nicest, most down-to-earth guy who's, like, I don't know.
Oh, this guy that got abducted by aliens, he's so down to earth.
Oh, shut up. But yeah, like, everyone talks about, like, how nice and kind he is and all that. And it's like, you can tell, like, I don't think he ever actually really wanted this.
Yeah.
So.
No, I was just pointing out the possibility.
Oh, I know.
I believe him, though.
Yeah, I actually think the guy probably did get abducted by aliens, and that would be hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Because I have no trouble believing aliens are real.
Yeah, I don't either.
No trouble with that whatsoever.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they told us aliens were real. That's what I got for today.
That was a dreadful discussion that wasn't so dreadful.
They don't always have to be bad.
No. If you liked it, like it, subscribe, leave us a comment, let us know what you thought. Mm-hmm. Let us know what we could do better. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about.
Yeah, 5-star reviews are always helpful if you're on Spotify or Apple. Yeah.
But thanks for watching, or thanks for listening.
Toodaloo.